Welcome you to Porch Talk. This is your host, Alan. This is an episode of Porch Talk. And we are so excited for Porch Fest. We have a deer tag ourselves. They'll be there Friday and Saturday. I have with me Britt.
Hello.
Good to have you back, brother. Many moons.
Yep, it's been a minute or two, but always happy to come on the show and share my zany life and opinions and theories and whatever's going on in the old nugget up here.
Before we get going, my roommate in Mobile, we were bandmates. Before we moved in together, all we did was go over to each other's places and practice all the time.
Yeah.
And when we moved in together, it's like, all we're going to do is play. We're going to be the greatest of all time. Never played together.
Never played, yeah.
And so, like, wow, you and I podcast together, live together. Hardest thing to fucking arrange.
Right? It's right. Hey, when are you going to be home? Oh, well, I got work. Which I'll tell you, I'll be honest. The night shift has just been like, it's been crippling me. And you know what? I honestly, like, I don't care what anybody says. The older you get, things like that actually start taking a much greater effect on you. I mean, they really do. Like, I mean, I know people that can sleep, that can go like 4 to 6 hours on sleep. That's all they need. And then they're up and at it. But like me, not saying that I couldn't do that. I mean, I could definitely probably do that, but it's just so hard to actually sleep. And in reality, I probably only get within that much sleep in reality, but it's just so hard to get to sleep.
Well, I think that's the thing that we don't really think about sleep is like whether you're hitting an hour or two here or hour or two there. Like the important thing is where people don't often get is like REM cycle.
Oh, well, it's like somebody told me the other day, they were like, oh, because I have insomnia or whatever. So I told somebody the other day, I was like, blah, 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 sleep problems, this, that, and the other. And they were like, oh, dude, just take you a shot of wild turkey. And I was like, dude, let me tell you something. I don't know how your body operates, but if I drink the wild turkey, I'm not going to sleep. I'm ready to go to, like, I mean, probably not.
Wild turkey.
At the same time, though, like.
Not the gobble.
But like, the different, well, this. So like, think about a night that you've been out drinking for a while, right? Enough to whenever you get to the point where you're tired enough to lay down and go to sleep, you pass hell out. When you wake up, you're still tired because in all retrospect, you really didn't get the deep sleep that you need. But anyways, just a news flash out there for you people, right? Just saying, older you get, the more things just start to really take an effect on you. I mean,
and not only that, it's like what those teachers used to tell you at school to where it all happens at once. It ain't a slow decline. And so that's why it's important that you don't do what I did and don't exercise, because then you're like, what? And your body's like, dude, I can't do that. Like, we gotta.
Now, I will say this. Myself, personally, I think I'm a bad advocate of that as well. And I think that is something, once we find the motivation, find the energy, right? Find it within ourselves to actually do it. I think anybody can exercise. I think.
Yeah, totally. I'm being facetious about all that. Yeah, totally. You know what? You don't just sit in the room. You don't do that. You don't do that.
I mean, like, I can't say anything. I mean, I'm in a job where, I probably need to be a lot more fit than I am. And I'm not saying that I'm not. I mean, but I could be really tens of times better shape than I am.
Everybody should be fit. I mean, there's no excuse for it, man. Like it's so crazy that is where we kind of are. And man, what kind of room do I have to talk? But I mean, it's wild. I mean, that's just kind of where we're at.
I mean, I will tell you this, like when I was in Marine Corps, like when I was like active duty, like living on base and stuff like that, like getting up in the morning and like, of course, you know, we're waking up at like crack of dawn, right? Like we got formation at 6. So we got to be up by at least, I mean, I got to be up before then because I had, you know, barracks, people love barracks rack mates or whatever. So we've got to be up in enough time to where I can get a shower, I can get my clothes and shit on. And then like, depending on where you kind of fall in that responsibility chain, like me personally, like I was a team leader and a squad leader. So I needed to be up before everybody else because I had to go wake them up. But the thing was, it's like we would go straight into formation, and then when we would go PT. Dude, I can't stress enough how like, and as much as like we used to whine and bitch and complain about, oh God, we got PT like that, like you know, because obviously if it was easy, right, if we could easily just go back to sleep, right, but we would get nothing done. I mean, that would be great. That would be awesome, right? Everybody would love to do that, but we would go PT, and I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Like we get done with PT, and they'd be like, all right, shower, change over, go grab a bite to eat, and I'm telling you, dude, every day, just when it started out like that, dude, it just made me feel 1,000 times better. Like, I used to have this hidden ability, all right? Almost like a superpower. You know, if you've got narcolepsy, you probably don't think it's quite a superpower, but like in the midst of all this, right? I used to have this insane napping power, dude. Like I could be sitting here talking to you, and then I could do this. I had a bad habit of like sticking my chin in my vest where it would hold my head down, and I would just sit here like against a tree, and I would just like fall asleep.
There you go.
Yeah, and then like literally, it'd be like a 30-minute nap, but I would be asleep, and then my buddies would be like, "Hey, come on, we gotta go patrol." I'm like, "All right, let's go, let's do this." But I'm telling you, yeah, I think, I think, I think we should, you know, you're right. We definitely have no excuse. And the way that everything's turning in the world now, I mean, like honestly, you need you need to be you need to be you need to be quick enough to be able to I'm going to use the word tactical, but move in a tactical manner. And I think, you know, that's a really good word for it. But I also think you need to have at least the strength and the endurance to kind of be able to take on some additional challenges that probably you don't face every day. Like, you know, you need to be able to like carry a lot of weight and go walk a certain distance, you know.
Endurance. I mean, yeah, I mean, all those things would be good. And I mean, the thing that we're all guilty of is like we see a viral video of like this thing happening to somebody, and I mean, the first thing that we say to ourselves is that would never happen to me.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Really? And I mean, like the odds of you like saying that and being correct is probably around 98% or so, but I mean, there's a small percent. And so like being prepared and preparedness, I mean that's something that I've been thinking about for over the it's a little embarrassing how long I've been thinking about it and I haven't been proactive about it. But like
Yeah.
just to get back into like some kind of a shape to where I could react, I could be tactical, I can move, I know my body's limit, you know, that kind of thing. But shit, moving on, not to linger there too long. With the mind, Lord of the Fallen, boys and girls, Lord of the Fallen, Dark Souls esque. It's made by Unreal. You may be familiar with it. Game maker. This ain't From Software who makes Dark Souls, but Unreal, they decided that they wanted to make a hard game, and I would say that they succeeded.
Yep. I've been stuck on let's see, because I will tell you this, like, so like in all your Souls games, specifically like Elden Ring, you know, you had like, for example, like you had those those characters, like when you first the first place you spawn in, right? The first place in Elden Ring. The guy, the Sentinel, the tree Sentinel. All right. Obviously, that's the first big bad, but that's not the first boss, though. Like there are bosses there, throughout the game, and that's kind of how Lords of Fallen is. And so I'm actually on one of the, what I guess you could say, main bosses.
Well, I mean, let's just stop and say this real quick about like what is generally with Dark Souls or even Elden Ring or maybe even Bloodborne. I haven't spent enough time with that game to know, but like when a game from software such as a Dark Souls opens, the immediate thing is they're gonna let you kind of feel the control out a little bit. They're not gonna tell you a whole lot. They'll be like, yeah, this is how you roll. This is, you can sprint. This is how you strike hard. And this is how you block. And then you walk out into this big arena and you're going to see something 50 times bigger than you and be like, let's see how you fare. And Lord of the Fallen did that. No spoiler. I mean, like, and that's not a spoiler if you never played Dark Souls. That's just how the game opens.
Yeah.
And I mean, just for people on the TISM, is like, I mean, that is like, it's life in that regard. It's like, there you go. What are you going to do? I didn't tell you anything about yourself, about how your equipment works. I didn't tell you anything about this person that you're about to fight. And by the way, their health bar is as big as a screen. See if you can figure out and beat them. Just see.
Not gonna lie, dude. It's very it is I mean, I honestly, for the most part, with the minus minus like some specifics like names or what they call this or what they call that. Other than that, very, 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 very much like Souls games. I mean, I mean, all the way to the point to where, like, even like, like I showed you, about the red lamps. Like when you soul flay a red lamp and you go and avenge a lamp bearer. Even how the thing shows up above, like, or whenever you beat beat it. And I don't know if you've noticed this too, but like if after you beat like one of those bosses, it's almost like the game will recognize.
Oh, it does.
It'll say
it alters the entire course of the world. Like a bit of the world brightens up a little bit.
Well, like
it's like a sin has been cleansed.
Exactly, a sin cleansed, heretic, eliminate or whatever. But it's all different, yeah. Whatever, and that's why I'm just like, what, like, yeah. But I'm eager. I will say this, in my opinion, I think it may be a little easier to navigate than Elden Ring, and because let's be honest,
that's not a fair comparison because this is a linear game. This is more like a Dark Souls or even Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, even Bloodborne. Like it's a very straightforward linear. It's not open world to where someone like me has to be like, well, I just got in a fight with this guy. Oh, I just saw that rock over there. What's that look like? There's some butterflies over there. And then next thing you know, it's like you're completely off base to where like a game like this, it kind of it makes you go a certain way. You may not understand like the puzzle or what's going on in the situation, but like you're where you're supposed to be and you'll be stuck until you figure it out.
Yeah. I do like I do like whatever, Unreal Engine. I like.
Well, they're responsible for one of the best fighting game systems ever known. Batman Arkham.
Yep.
Arkham City, like all your Batmans and like a lot of your fighting games. We're not going back to like Mortal Kombat or those guys, but we're talking about like fighting games in the sense of what
I want to say. Is the current Mortal Kombat Unreal? I think
may be.
What about what's the one? Injustice.
That is, I believe.
Yeah.
And so like those are really good mechanics, and like what I mean by mechanics is like the guys in the green suits who are like, you got all these bubbles on you and like these are hit boxes. And so like when you were in these fights, like Unreal Engines and From Software does a really good job of like the hit point and like where it does damage and how much damage it does. And like, man, I mean, it was always so ridiculous. Like if you were in the arcade, like I don't know about you, but like going to the mall with my older brother and we were playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, and like if your older brother knew a little hack, I mean, he could just get all in the hitbox and just wreck you.
Yeah.
And so and we're playing NPCs. Yeah, it can be MMO. Like you can play with another character, you can fight another one, you can try to get their shit. But for the most part, it's hitboxes versus an NPC.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I've definitely have turned for all those of you now, if you manage to play the game, I'm gonna tell you right now, I turn it off. And the reason being is because the other day I was sitting here playing, minding my own business. I'm trying to grind for my own individual purposes. Okay. I'm trying to raise my level. I'm trying to get my points up.
Dog took a shit in the carpet.
That actually happened. And then guess what? Some dude, it says you've been chosen for this ritual. And I'm like, what does that mean? All of a sudden, dude jumps out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, you know what though?
And it's Hercules.
Yeah. I'm like, I got you. Come on. Dude, we probably went around and round and round for the longest time, but you know why he beat me? Because he was really good at the fucking his strategy was shield and sword. And he was really good at shield and sword.
I mean, one thing that you've been telling me about that, like that's why I've been so slow, dude, is like trying to learn the frame rates. And do I want a double hand? Do I want to do sword and shield? Do I want to focus more on spells? Do I want to do a mix? And like you really can't commit to a mix. And then also like when you're doing the boss fights, like my main thing in Dark Souls, like if I was honed in on Dark Souls, like my goal when I go into a boss hit is like not being hit one time, like fighting a boss fight perfectly. And that could be totally done with that game.
Dude,
if you were good enough with the mechanics.
Like tonight, 2 nights, I vow that I will finish and complete.
We're starting a Twitch tonight.
This freaking, what is it?
Is it the fucker on the horse?
Fucker on the horse. What is it called? It's called something. Oh, the Hushed Saint. The Hushed Saint. Tonight. All right, I will honestly admit that I have probably attempted this now at least 30 times. I'm not upset to admit that. He's a tough guy. And I mean, like, I have watched the videos, I have listened to other people play, and you know what the funny thing is? My character level, I'm higher than all those guys. And it's about what you said. It's about the mechanics. It's about how you play. And apparently with this guy, you got to stay close. You got to, very little. But anyways, that's video games. That's video games today for us guys. So
that was the thing. Like when I sat down and I was first playing with it, and you were sitting there on the side of the couch, and you're just like, "Here comes the first boss," and you might want to farm a little bit. And I was like, I wish I never heard any of that. I would have rather walked in there blind and just had to like fend for my life. And like since that, I have been like taking my time, being real careful. And I was like, it kind of robbed me of that oh shit experience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like watching like the guides or where everything is. And I get that, but like go in it blind. Let it devour you.
No, I mean, I definitely been watching guides, and that's just because I watch one specific guide. He has other videos, like, like to show you like OP builds or stuff like that. But I like his walkthroughs because he's very he takes notes and he follows the notes. And like in the middle of the game, like if he dies, right, like while he's playing, like he'll take that loss, and then he'll show you, like, he explains it, and he doesn't try to like make some OP. I mean, he tells you like how, like, from the very basic level, and he's very like, choice selective. Like, okay, you're coming up to this point in the game where you can make a decision. You can either do this or you
Do
can
you
do
ever
that.
think about like how much like if let's say he was doing that from a very low level and he was going through and like he was showing you how to fight the bosses and how the mechanics and even like how to deal with like one of the hardest bosses at the beginning was like you take a left from the first visage, you go down, you have to break a, a carriage, and then there's this guy with a double-edged sword, two-handed, and if you don't know what you're doing, he'll wreck you every time. And then just down the street, there's a boss, and so like that that guy with the two-handed sword that was too big for him to where he's having to drag it, that was your preparation for learning the mechanics. And also he had some magic. He would shoot spells. And even like if you didn't have the brightness, that's one thing I've noticed about games that's tricky lately, is even if you don't set your brightness right, like you'll have a little arc flash from like some of the spells and things done at you, like to where it's like affecting you in real life. Have you noticed that?
Nah, I mean, I
Maybe I'm
I keep
retarded.
it. I keep it. I keep it pretty bright. Oh no, like I hate like where there's like games that want to play very. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like some of them it makes sense. You want to be in dark, but I can't. So even the darkest setting in a game, like I can't. I brighten it all the way to max.
Okay. So like when you're going in the game setting, it's like show this little diamond until you can barely see it, and Cole's like,
Yeah, I'm all the way. You're gonna see the entire diamond. That's me.
Yeah.
And
it's
that's
gonna be white.
And guess what? You know what that means for me? Whenever I walk down, like, because I've played, don't get me wrong, I've played horror games before. Don't necessarily play them all the time. But when I was growing up, one of the number one PS2 games that I had, or was it PS1 or PS2? I don't quite remember.
Silent Hill.
No, it was called Extermination. Much like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, whatever. But anyways, it was, I don't know if you ever played this game, dude. It was tough, but it was that. But it was about these Marines in this base in Antarctica.
It was perfect.
Perfect. And they end up getting their helicopter shot down, and everybody's spread out. And then according, you're going through and you're figuring shit out, and you got to get this key to go to this door, and this dude this, and this dude that. You have no bullets, but yet you have a gun. You have to go here, and you got to get bullets. You got to do this. You got to do that.
You got a flamethrower with no propane.
Absolutely. You could go and pick up
the thing.
part.
We're playing the thing.
100%. 100%. Actually, it might as well have been a thing. Might as well have been a thing. Might as well have been. I'm sorry. Repeat that so many times. Actually, exactly what it should have been. Except, a little different. But yeah. Anyways, that was like my first experience.
But the aliens will go up your instead of up your butthole, they would go in your belly button.
Boy, wouldn't that be? Like the Matrix.
We can't be creative with how aliens enter. But there's nowhere new you can go. They like your pinky toe.
I'm on the.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I'm just, I like how we're like gradually transitioning to a different topic. Like me personally, I am over that. Everybody, America, world, I'm over that. I don't think that aliens are going to dissect us and stick their finger in our ass. I don't think that's what they're trying to do anymore.
They don't want to see your penis.
I don't think that's. I'm beyond that. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I'm beyond that. You know what I mean? Like I've watched enough freaking stuff from like Bob Lazar and like all these other people that I'm like beyond. Like, look, they obviously don't want to be seen. So what makes sense to you?
They are among us,
Yeah.
It's like skin suit thing.
Exactly.
And it's always like it's so funny. Like you'll see someone like share like so. I shared one like I'm gonna eat the silica gel just because they tell me not to, and then like the guy eats it, and it's like a cartoon of All right, they pulled the helmet off. It's like, welcome to the real world. You passed. You know, it's that experience of like, my God, like whatever you believe, like with everything going on, Seedles or the government is just totally against us. It's WEF, it's one world organization. It's all these different things. And you're like, dude, I'm just trying to go day to day and get by and by.
Little known fact, and I don't care to bring this up. I hope everybody hears it, and I hope she hears it too. My ex believed, like, she's like a flat earther. Okay, so she believed, she learned from this one dude who told her that this life that we're in, check this out, is a simulation. And I said, stop, listen. That's called the Matrix. She was like, what? I'm like, you've never seen the Matrix? You don't know who Neo
That's what
is?
you talk about your friends with when you high.
Exactly. 115,000%. Not like in real life when you're like walking around, you know, I mean, that's some things you know, you keep in your diary or whatever. No, 100%.
We just got done eating at Taste. We're walking out. You paid for the meal. By the way, this is all just a simulation.
Yeah, it could have been different, right? Or it has happened differently, or like whatever, like I don't know. But I mean, that's just once again, I'm just going back to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. I don't think that aliens are like stuck on like probing us, and you know, I don't think that's the case. I really don't. I'm starting to believe more and more and more now that any extraterrestrial life is actually an enhanced form of actual human beings. I believe that we human beings have been on Earth or not on Earth, but have been a part of the universe for a quite some time, and we have evolved thus over time. All still believing in the same.
Watch out with your hand signs there, buddy.
All still believing believing the same God of creation that we believe in now, right? All the same thing, but every different evolution or every different civilization of that evolution has kind of, you know, as they do now, they all kind of like critique it a little bit, make it differently for their own. Yeah. And I believe that, and that is why, me personally, that all the stuff that we have seen up to this point immediately gets tossed into secret government, you know, plan, secret this, secret that, like it's all part of the government, like the government did this, like the government created that, they were trying to test a new fighter jet, and this is what they came up with. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, okay?
Here we go.
I was in the military. I had a secret clearance. Okay.
Let's not do this here.
What? No. CIA is not about to crash our house, dude. All I'm saying is this, is that if they wanted it to really be secret, there wouldn't even be like an accidental dude just out here raking freaking leaves in his yard going, hey, look at that, it's a flying saucer. Mm-hmm. Because, like,
you don't think that shit could get out?
Oh, I mean, I think it could. But I think, you know, I'm not saying that accidents don't happen. Accidents do.
And like, when it comes to like, man, this whole pyramid shit, dude.
What about everything that's going on in Antarctica right now?
Give me a second. With the pyramid, like, a lot of people like, how the heck did they do all that? Well, they had slaves for one, but also like I think they fully understood the fulcrum, and like they had enough people to move big enough fulcrum to be able to do the work to build those pyramids. And also, it's not that. I mean, yeah, I understand it's a wonder of the world, but like I mean, it happened in Central and South America. I mean, we have these pyramids and all these different things all over the world. That has to beg the question. There has to be something to that. And also, like when we're talking about otherworldly beings, like There are so many phenomenons that happen. And I think that's a beautiful thing about the internet. Whatever you want to believe about that, it's the only reason that I'm somewhat aware of it, even if I believe what I'm seeing on the phone screen or not. But like there are natural or unnatural phenomenons happening over the earth in the same method everywhere all at once. And so like what at this point is like you don't give it up to chance. You don't chalk that up. I mean you just it is. What's the next point? We have to figure out how to understand it. Sure. Where do you start? Well, you have to have some kind of a medium. Well, I remember Dark Ages, we would burn a witch. Well, I'm not saying that's the way either. And then we would think about an exorcism of a pope or a priest or cardinal or something of that nature. Well, we've made plenty of movies of that. I don't know, dude. I don't know what I don't think there is any separation with this. I think like there's dimensions to it and there's planes and like we are on a certain plane and all those ghosts, these doors opening, closing, uh floor stomping or whatever else that goes unexplained. It's totally probably happened. You're probably not crazy. It's just in a different plane that just happens to be in that same dimension that you happen to be in at that point.
It's in the umbral.
And yeah, sure. I'm not opposed to that, dude.
Yeah, well.
Here.
Rock,
here.
paper, Stonehenge. You wanna know what I think it was? I think it's a big ass compass that never got finished. And it's I think it just me. Or let's take it back. It could be that somebody at that time frame was really honestly just trying to build a sophisticated type of temple or building, right? They don't
Or
wanna,
what if, it was an asshole like me who did the exact same thing in Kennedy, Alabama, in the woods, just waiting for it to
for
be
no
discovered.
reason whatsoever. I have been that guy myself. I have been that guy myself.
And
I was a child.
now you have people 500 years later is like, what could it mean? It was like it could just mean he was fucking with you.
I had been that guy myself. My aunt actually used to like run a gas station, and then some days I would have to go stay with my aunt, like me and my cousin. So what I would do is like we could get anything we wanted in the gas station for free. So what I would do is I would like write letters on and I'd roll them up, and I'd get like an empty bottle, and I put the letter in the bottle, and I'd just stick it around the store, and people would actually see it, and they'd open it, and they pull out the letter, and it would just say some really dumb stuff. But I'm just saying that was me. I was him. I did that. That's me. Look at where I got now.
Yeah,
What an upgrade.
Look at us.
Yeah, look at us.
Yeah, deer tag.
Boom.
Dude, where else I mean, we have the possibility of something cool in March. What's going on around here?
Dude, so really quick, I'm just gonna throw this in there, guys. If you're in the northeast Mississippi area, whether it be Columbus, Louisville, Starkville, West Point, Tupelo, any of those areas or even around, definitely check out if you'll go to Facebook, look up my boy Blake Dillard. If you look up Mississippi Alarm, they are doing some really good stuff, and they are trying to get ahead of the game as far as how technology and everything else incorporates with regular everyday home security. So reach out to Mississippi Alarm and ask for Blake. And there's his plug. Also, we want to do a couple other plugs, but I think I want to wait a little bit until we get closer, maybe toward the end, and that way, so I can read it and actually give me a minute to look it up while we're talking about it. But yeah, because we got a few that we got to throw in. So just to give you guys kind of like a base of like what we got going on. One of my really good friends that I met through the Marine Corps, obviously, when I got out of active duty, I went into the reserves, and I started drilling up in Nashville, in Smyrna, a little bit outside of Nashville, a part of a 323 kilo company. It was an infantry unit stationed up in that area. Michael Colazzo was a is still a dear and true, like, awesome friend of mine. It's been too long, we haven't seen each other, but so in the past year or so, I don't know if many people have probably, if you stay on top of the news or whatever, I mean, maybe, you're that guy that just lives in a cave. But with that being said, Michael Colazzo was one of the officers that responded to the active shooter incident that occurred in Nashville not too long ago at the Christian school. And he obviously was one of the officers that ended up, firing his weapon, subduing, stopping the threat. I'll just put it to you like that. Really good friend of mine. Man, we've got stories to tell as far as like our Marine Corps experience, but I personally reached out to him. He has recently went on a podcast and told the story of that for the very first time, which was actually, I mean, it's kind of a big deal. I mean, he's actually telling this story unedited, unfiltered, what he could tell for the absolute first time. And the first time he told it, it wasn't to the news. I mean, obviously he had to get debriefed and go through all that, but it's through this podcast platform. And for you, everybody's wondering, Veteran with a Sign is, I don't know the name of the podcast, I have to pull it up. But Veteran with a Sign, you've probably seen it on social media, but the guy in the green skivvy shirt that's holding up a sign, he's got a podcast, guys. And Mike has been a part of this podcast. Those guys have actually kind of grown into like a huge element now ever since that. And they're continuing to grow. Some of the stuff that they're doing, the things that they're working on, really great, really awesome. So we want to give that plug to Michael Colazzo, and obviously Veteran with a Sign. So plugging those guys in, and check that podcast out. I believe it's called Veteran with a Sign podcast. But Michael Colazzo, good friend of mine, like I said, Metro Nashville police officer. He also has his own Instagram. For the first time ever, I was giving him a really hard time about that. So in the process of doing what we're doing, living in the social networking world, living in the networking world, expanding communications through podcasts and stuff like that. Recently set up a meet with Mike to come on the show, to come on Porch Talk.
Here's the story.
Whether that be through a webinar, like a web means, or to have him here in person. But also we've been invited, Porch Talk has been invited to a range day up there with those guys, which is going to be Better with a Sign, Mike Colazzo, Echelon USA, some different groups up there. So we've been invited to do that March 9th. So I think it'd be pretty cool. I think it'd be a great opportunity to get Al in some TAC gear and get him out there shooting with some gunslingers.
We all
But at the same time, it is Mike's story is very moving, and I am doing my part to try to get that out there to everybody to hear, because I think it's something that needs to be I think it's something that needs to be talked about. I think it's something that needs to be heard. But that's just what we got going on as far as internal wise. Guys, you can look forward to that. I know that as far as fan base, when it comes to people that listen to the show, you got people from all different walks of life. We've got people that love it. We got people that love it because of the music. We've obviously got people that love my episodes, and I don't know why, but
I do. I mean, those are our guys in armed forces, and people who in law enforcement and firefighters and things that fall in the field that you're in, who are very patriotic, and God, we love them. I completely understand that.
So
I don't think it's a mystery at all.
Yeah. So a goal that I actually have is once we get our way into this and kind of break bread with these guys, want to expand on that a lot more.
I mean, I would love it. If we get to meet with him in March, if he's down for it, I mean, I would love for him to come to Porch Fest. I mean, he don't have to get up on stage and make a speech, but I think I kind of would like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
like
something we can.
you know, maybe Porch Fest ain't really the place for it,
Yeah.
but like maybe we could create the event, like because the way that media shapes stories and talks about things, uh, I don't think it's fair for the most part. I, whether you agree with what happened with Kyle Rittenhouse or not, I don't think that young man ever had a fair shake. And he's 18, 19, 20 years old, and I don't think he'll ever have a fair shake at life. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree with what he did. I don't think he did anything wrong, but I'm also not condemning or condoning. But like I don't understand the hatred for what he did, and like I think there's power in a story, a testimony. So yeah, I mean, I'm totally down for that. And if Porch Fest is the right venue for it, if not, we can create a venue.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think just from the networking phase, I think we'll be able to figure out some really cool events, and possible collaborations with some other people. Me personally, just throwing this out there to you, Jake Reeves. I think that podcast, and I think that those two podcasts would really benefit meeting one another and collaborating. So I think that Porch Talk could be the bridge for that.
Yeah,
I think we could do that. I think that Man Up and Better with a Sign, I think they could benefit each other a whole lot. And I think
absolutely.
that I, just me personally, knowing like what I give to the podcast, right? Like Al said, your veterans, your first responders, stuff like that.
I mean,
Those
you're red-blooded Americans.
Yeah, so I just personally feel like, like those guys, uh, you know, we create the network for them. We do our part, and that just shows you, the listeners, how uh much influence that even a local podcast can have. How much influence that we can have,
Yeah,
and how much change it can elicit, and how much what it can do. We can get anybody can stand in front of a computer or stand in front of a microphone and record 15 minutes of a rant or longer and post it if they would like to. But having the opportunity to like go out and meet people, shake hands, actually do the actual in person.
that's why I had Porch Fest.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You
just.
get to meet all of us.
And then all of a sudden, like, what is the benefit of that? Well, the benefit of that is that for one, like for the listener, if it's a certain type of music that you like, or if it's a product that's offered by one of the guests or something like that, it's a way for you to have an opportunity to invest your time, have an experience with that, for the most part. So definitely looking forward to that. We've got a lot going on. As you can see, the venue wise, this is the happy house that we're in currently right now.
So
This
happy.
is it. Yeah. So we actually are in the process of constructing a studio specifically for Porch Talk. Right now it is on the low end of the construction deadline, but
We in no hurry.
yeah, we're working on it, and once it's complete, you guys can expect 10 times difference video footage. I mean, just quality wise, sound. I mean, not that sound has ever been a problem. I think we've always had a great sound. But I'm going to be in a closed door uh studio with soundproofing equipment, and just have that ability to kind of really focus more on the sound, focus more on the visuals. And we're gonna get it set up, and it's, as much as it's a blessing for us to have that 100%, like it is great for us to have that. It's also, we're excited to give that to you. Like, we're excited to share that with our listeners.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing this for going on 6 years, 7 years, and you've been here maybe since the beginning, or maybe a year or two, or maybe you just hopped on board. But I mean, it's been a wild ride, and God, how many apartments and houses and states and highways, and I mean, just everything that we've done, and like we're trying to do more video and audio and make it feel more like you're here all the time, and like do more video logs, and dude, like it's gonna be a big thing. And I guess like the last half of this episode is just telling you empty promises of things that we want and what is to come.
I mean, I necessarily I wouldn't see a couple of these things as empty promises. I mean, definitely obtainable by us, even if we can only benefit from a portion of it. But definitely on the right track. If you're a listener and have been a listener for a long time, I encourage you to continue to be a listener and post out. We got t-shirts coming out here pretty soon. We got more merchandise on the way down the road, and it's only what you can imagine. It's just like a fire. Okay. So like if we start it here, it's a grass fire, all right? It's a wildfire. It's going to catch on. It's going to keep rolling. All right. So, definitely continue to support. We got Porch Fest coming up in April, man. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. Al, and I'm telling you guys this from a two-part experience. One, being Al's roommate, and two, being, a follower, a listener, of the podcast. Even though I've been on the show and I've been a part of this thing for a while, I'm just telling y'all now, like, how this has progressed. This idea started, and I just want to take this opportunity. I want to kind of shine on you for a minute, Al. You don't mind?
I've never masturbated, Boris.
So
I'm fucking with you.
Anyways, how dare you say that in front of George?
Damn it!
All right, so this started with an idea. Porch Talk was, and it was an idea that Al had. And for those of you that don't really know, like, Al has quite the story. I don't think that nobody has actually heard your story at almost what, over 1,000 episodes.
We've been telling a little bit,
but no one has actually sat down and listened to Alan Aldridge's story, where he comes from, why he's doing what he's doing, where does this come from, why do you why do you write the songs that you sing, why do you sing the songs that you sing, what has influenced you in life. But I will tell you this. This was an idea that Al had, right? Whether you think it was like harebrained or whatever, but he literally he vocalized this to his friends. Of course, at the time, me, Blake Dillard, like some of those
and I
friends,
vomited on the sidewalk
many times, and so it was an idea that was had, amongst friends. And the difference between Al and somebody that just, has an idea and continues to live life every day, wishing and wanting that they had something, but never really trying. Well, I can tell you that Al can be your muse for that, only because he took a conversation like that and he turned it into something. And Porch Talk started very, very slow. First few episodes were with me, with Cobb, with a bunch of Al's friends. And then as it started to grow, like, Al put the time in, after working, a whole day working for Starkville Utilities and
emailing, being told no.
Yeah, I mean, constantly.
Dude, starting Instagram, like, never been on that before, never been on like a lot of these different social media apps, and DMing these people and figuring out their emails and emailing them and not writing me back or giving me a soft no, or then sometimes it's like a really hard no that kind of hurts your feelings if they were a hero. And or I mean it's all that. But yeah, it's I mean, we're 6 years in now, man. Fuck, dude.
I mean,
and we're not done yet.
Yeah, it's grown exponentially. And just the thing, here's the thing, like, we I was getting on Porch Fest.
Man, please
So,
come, dude.
Porch Fest
Please.
started started with this idea, right? That was birthed from the idea of this podcast. And the first Porch Fest literally was like 30 people. And, you know, uh, just, I mean, I don't know, grilling hot dogs. I mean, it was basically.
A couple from Midwest outside of Chicago coming down to nowhere, Alabama, and we decided that we would throw a party for them.
We threw a party for them, and we cooked,
and we played, and we cooked,
and we cooked crawfish, and it was badass. You know, it was a good time. We had essentially, for those of you that live in the South and understand the Southern culture and everything down here, we had a crawfish bowl and played some music. Essentially, that was the first Porch Fest. The second Porch Fest, obviously, networking, more episodes, everything went into that. It just grew exponentially. And then, of course, with your partnership with Munson Brothers, it finally, you know, it grew into something. So now Porch Fest is essentially, it's held at Munson Brothers. And I mean, it's become such a big thing. I mean, I was just asking Al the other day, I was like, you know, very early on, I think this was actually back in January when I was asking you this, I was like, what's Porch Fest looking like? You know, and the whole lineup is already ready to go. It's the whole lineup is already booked. The only way it can change is if something happens.
And it's stupid, dude. Like, there's retainer. I mean, like, we're talking. If you wanted to be on the lineup for Porch Fest in 2025, you would need to already have spoke to me by July. Because I mean, like, that's how far back we go, and it's like that's retainer. And so, like, I literally had a band back out today, and I hit the next band up in the lineup, and what do? Okay, yeah, we like that time. I mean, and that is literally where we are. I mean, like, that is so insane that we have to have retainer. And so, like, I don't know how long this venue will be big enough for Porch Fest. I don't know what the next thing is, man. But like, thank y'all. I don't guess. I know, like, shit. Thank y'all.
I personally am calling out the
stupid.
Red Clay Strays. I think you guys should totally come to Porch Fest. Just saying. Not anybody in particular wants to listen to you. Just, you know, just if you got the time. I mean, just
Yeah, anything.
you know, you're not doing anything. I mean,
Anything else to do?
we can work out a way to pay you some money. You know,
A little money.
up to you. Well, before your time, obviously. You know, we'll
compensate it.
We'll definitely do our best. I mean, it's just speaking of, since everybody sees me now looking like a couple idiots over here, no. Here's the deal. If you're just now listening to the Red Clay Strays, which I know that you freaking are because it is what it is, wondering why I went crazy all over the place, let it be known that they were here first. They were here on Porch Talk first.
That's not a lie.
They were here first. I had to realize that myself. I was like, "Oh, dude, Al, check out this band. I love him." He's like, "Dude, you know I interviewed these guys." I was like,
3 years ago.
"Right." So
I had to sound like a douchebag.
yeah, like
I was a hipster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I totally knew about those guys, and then I threw up the interviews like,
Yeah.
4 years ago. Here.
And now they've blown up. So, like, guys, listen, go back to that episode. Listen to that episode with the Red Clay Strays. If you love that song, wondering why, go ahead, go back, go to Porch Talk, go through. I know there's a lot of episodes you got to filter through, but look up the Red Clay Stray. They did an episode with Al with Porch Talk, and it was great. It was awesome. I mean, it really was. I mean, especially to listen to know what's going on now with that band and knowing that they're flying off the shelves. Like, really are they? They're bringing this. In my opinion, they're bringing this like 1940s, 1960s era of country kind of like back to the sound like that's the way that I feel about it a little bit. Me personally,
it's a sick little thing, and I think they're on the forefront of it, dude. I truly believe in that.
Check them out,
dude. Anything else to do? Man, I think we've done it. Fair. Love y'all. Thank you for listening. Goodbye. I gotta Don't say the N word, cause I know you can. I'm actually gonna leave this part in because I think it's funny. Why won't that exit? I cannot. Oh, there, he almost did it. He almost did it. He almost did it. You will remember. You will remember this day.